Addiction to cigarettes is a complex process that involves chemical, physiological, and psychological factors. We will explore the scientific reasons behind cigarette addiction. Nicotine's effect on the brain. When you smoke, nicotine rapidly enters the bloodstream and reaches the brain. In the brain, nicotine binds to specific receptors called nicotinic receptors. These receptors are responsible for transmitting chemical signals such as dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical that plays a key role in creating feelings of pleasure and reward. When nicotine enters the brain, it increases dopamine release, and the individual experiences a feeling of pleasure or euphoria. Physiological effects and tolerance. Over time, the brain becomes accustomed to nicotine. This means that to experience the same pleasurable effects from smoking, the individual needs more nicotine. This process gradually leads to an increase in cigarette consumption and the development of tolerance to nicotine. In other words, the body requires more nicotine to achieve the same effects. This makes the person smoke more cigarettes. Psychological dependence. In addition to the physiological changes, psychological dependence is another important factor in cigarette addiction. For many people, smoking becomes a daily habit. This habit may be reinforced in certain situations or during social interactions. For example, a person may associate smoking with stress relief or as a social activity. In this case, smoking becomes a well-established behavior, making it harder to quit. Long-term effects and brain changes. Continuous nicotine use causes changes in the structure of the brain. These changes help strengthen the neural pathways related to reward and pleasure. As a result, the brain becomes accustomed to smoking and nicotine, requiring more nicotine to achieve the same feeling of pleasure. These changes may be permanent, making it much more difficult for a person to quit smoking. Cigarette addiction is a multifaceted process that arises from the interaction of physiological, chemical, and psychological factors. Over time, the human brain becomes accustomed to nicotine, and this habit is reinforced not only by the chemical effects of nicotine but also by social and psychological behaviors. These complex processes make it very difficult for many people to quit smoking.